And welcome to the second round of F1 TS Hub, the Pinnacle Alan Cavagnaro for the second round of season number 10, and we are here for the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm alongside Nick for, again, the second round of season number 10 of the Chinese Grand Prix. We have 18 drivers today to compete for not only the pole position, but for the overall winner of today's Chinese Grand Prix with 12 minutes remaining. So as time gets started right off the bat, looks like the track is a little wet. I'm not sure if it was just raining recently, but already drivers are deciding to go out on track to test out the conditions. Do you think that there's any previous rainfall on the circuit?
I'm not too sure. There seems to be, you're right, the pit lane looked very dark. So I don't know if there was rainfall previously. No one is showing as going out on any sort of wet weather tyres. In fact, just seeing some drivers come out now on super softs. So you'd have to say they're going to go out and do some hot laps on these dry tyres. But you're right, it definitely looks very greasy out there.
We also do have a reason to think so. We are at the Shanghai International Circuit. We've seen wet races at this track in before in real life and F1 TS Hub, so we obviously do have the right mind. But there are a couple drivers out on circuit, including Enact on the circuit right now. There's Sam, we have Jamie, we have a bunch of people. We have James, it's Compact, a new driver from Force India. I'm not sure if I recognize him. Is it M14?
Yeah, his name's Matt. He wasn't able to attend last week, but yeah, he's in the Force India with Sam.
Okay, next we have Jor and the other Red Bull. MLA is just exiting the pits. We also have Clifford and then Dan, and we missed a couple of people who just got on the circuit. So again, with 10 minutes remaining, time flies, but with 10 minutes remaining, nobody has set a time yet so far today, but really, you don't have much time to set some banker laps. It's really just go out on the circuit. I mean, this track is really, really long. I wouldn't say really long, but I consider it, especially with that long back straight. I mean, you're headed down the straight in a race, you'll be looking in your mirrors because this straight is so long. It really just reels everyone in with you, but in the race, you'd be looking in those mirrors. But in qualifying, you're going to head down into turn 14 in the heavy braking zone, and one of the heaviest braking zones on this calendar, I believe. So it's really going to test the limits of these drivers, but right now, Enact is going to come across the line, and he'll start his lap, but 9 minutes remaining. Nobody has started a lap. I mean, this track is around, I think, 3.3 miles or 5 kilometers, approximately, if I'm correct. There's 16 corners, and that's really about the circuit. I mean, there's not much. I mean, there's a lot of tricky parts about the circuit, like turns 1, 2, and 3. The long right sweeping left-hand or right-hander, and then the blind apex in turn number 2, hit downhill in turn number 3. So again, this track poses a lot of challenges for these drivers, and I'll be really impressed to see if any driver can tame it.
Yeah, so we've got almost a full grid. Flair and Tazmaz aren't joining us tonight. Flair has personal issues, so we wish him the best with those. But we've got 18 drivers, and as you said, this time goes so quickly, this 12-minute session. So they've only got just under 9 minutes left, and we've got no one who has actually set a lap time. And we've still got Hammer Time, Dogananis, who's moved up from the podium tier for this week's race, and Sean yet to come out of the pits.
So, also seeing a couple of people. B-Saz is about to come up to the pits. He's slow on the circuit in the ruins. There's still a couple of people in the pits. Looks like Dog's in the pits with Hammer Time. He's also in the pits. And Sean. Other than that, everyone else is on the circuit. And I forgot to mention, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and here at F1 TSL is the fastest lap in Dakota. Jamie 134.8, but here at F1 TSL we definitely support everything pink, wearing pink helmets, and if you didn't know, every person that wears a pink helmet in this session, I believe, is it 50 pounds or 50p? I'm not exactly sure how you express that.
50p for every driver, including this tier and the previous tier. So we had about 9, I believe, drivers in the podium tier wear pink helmets. So looks like we've got a few more in this tier also to join in on that. So thank you for helping us support what is such a good cause, and is definitely something that we feel any way that we can contribute is obviously appreciated.
Fantastic thing to cover and support, but while we were talking, we did miss Sam, believe it or not, in the pink car. What a coincidence there. Actually, never mind, MLA setting the fastest time in the Silver Arrow. It's going to be a couple tenths difference off Sam's time, but that is going to be 1:32.7. these times are averaging pretty close to each other. I mean, they only escape within around 2.1 seconds of each other. So really, it's going to be really, really close to the top pole position, in my opinion. But as time counts down from 7 minutes, MLA does stand at the top of the board. I believe there will be at least a couple more drivers that will be able to knock them down in today's qualifying session. But honestly, seeing what the track was a couple minutes ago when qualifying started, for racing, it'll have an impact. I think this will be a perfectly dry race today. But I mean, you do see clouds forming up in the sky. I mean, we don't have much word on what goes on with the weather, but for today, most likely my prediction is going to be dry. I mean, we did see. I mean, I only tuned into the second part of the podium race, but at the end it was dry, it was bright and sunny, it was in the evening time, so I honestly do feel like we'll have a dry race today. I mean, yeah, I think it's just a pattern that goes on with these Codemasters games. If you do a race within each other, you'll usually get the same weather. It's something I've seen. But a couple minutes have gone by, MLA still stands at the top of the board, and my opinion, I mean, within the last couple of minutes, a couple people should be knocking down his time, but his time really competitive as Beast has. That's a 1:32.1. That is a 6/10 difference, and now your new pole sitter is Beast has with 5.5 minutes remaining.
And saying that, I watched Beast as he crossed the line. He had a tank slapper as he exited the last corner. I'm not sure if he got too much wheels too far over on the curb, and he actually went to the unideal line to the finish line. But yeah, 6/10 is quite a margin for his first flying lap. We've got a lot of drivers coming into their in laps, or they're yet to come back out from completing their first flying lap. Just riding on board with Clifford's Red, who's low on fuel. Cobblers is on a good lap.
We're 5 minutes remaining. I honestly think Beast has to not have sort of say what's the word, a banker lap on his mind. I think he just wanted to set the best lap. See if he can improve off his first lap that he's doing. Right now he's on his second lap. But I think B-Sides really just wants to be out there and, set good laps. I don't think he just wants to test out the circuit. I think he just went out there for at least 1 or 2 laps, set a good lap, and then he'll be coming in and that'll be it for him. I mean, when he came out on the circuit, it wasn't in the very beginning like everyone did with their banker laps. He came out in the middle of the qualifying session, and that really just dignifies that you'll go out there for 1 single run or 2 laps. So B-Sides really, I don't think he'll be able to set a faster time unless if he's not coming in the pits this time. Down the straight, he doesn't have DRS open, so most likely he'll be coming in the pits this lap. But again, 6/10 difference. I think that just shows the difference between an actual good lap and a banker lap. This is yellow in Sector 3. Not exactly sure who that is. I don't see a single actually, there's a Ferrari off to the side. That's going to be D90. I think that's his name, D90. He sits in 12th place in the Ferrari right now. He's just wiggling the wheel around because he's trying to get his way back in the pits. But holds up the Haas. I'm not sure if that'll be a black flag or anything for illegal blocking into the pits, but he's ghosting now, so nice to see him off the circuit, and looks like the yellows will lift off the circuit.
Interesting to see that we've got 3 drivers who haven't set a time yet. Hammer Time, Sean and Dan. I know Hammer Time is showing on my screen on the soft tire, and Clifford's Red in the Toro Rosso has also set his time on the soft tire. He's currently in 10th, so perhaps they're trying to do something different. It's very close between about 6th place and 11th, 12th place. It's only about half a second that covers that entire spread of drivers, as Hammer Time does complete a lap, but it's only enough for 14th place on those soft tires. One thing in this game, Alan, that's been talked about a lot is at the end of the qualifying session, the track seems to be a lot grippier and a lot quicker. Do you think times are going to improve just because of the rubber that's going down?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, the track is getting a lot easier and a lot faster to drive. I mean, like we said, I mean, the pit line still looks pretty dark. I mean, obviously nobody's really been driving any cooling it up, but I think there was like 10 minutes of rain before the actual qualifying started. So I think the track is drying up, and I think these stunts will be getting even faster. So speeding out even faster, our pole sitter is deciding to go back out on the circuit for another run. That is Beast has, and he still has a 6/10 difference. As you can see, the British flag are in the background. As if you have my camera angle, that's Hammer Time retiring. That is him just pulling off at the side, no damage done. So yeah, like I said, I saw the British flag in the background representing some Beastaz fans we have here. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job in qualifying so far today. 6/10, I mean, we keep saying that. That is more than half a second. And half a second and just, you know, do 1 second and divide it by 2. I mean, in racing, you don't think it's much, but honestly, when you have a gap of 1 to 2 seconds, it's pretty large. I mean, that's what consists from a 1:32.1 by Beastaz all the way down to a 1:34.8, which Jamie has in 16th. That is really around 2/10 to 2.5 second difference. Again, many people think that's not much, but in racing, it's a large amount, and every second and every millisecond does matter. Every 10th, 100th, 1,000th does count in motorsports. And I think that's a really unique thing that comes to the part when you come to F1. I mean, cars are really fast, the times are going to be very similar to each other. So as we come towards the end of this Chinese Grand Prix qualifying, Beastaz still stands on the top. Can anyone tame him in this final minute of today's qualifying session here in F1 TSL round number 2?
Sean is just about to complete his first flying lap. He'll get another attempt at this if he's got enough fuel in. He's just done a 32.5, so he's taken the front row alongside Beastaz, and he's pulled off. So that's him done for the session. Drivers, there are only 45 seconds left, so as long as they cross that line before the timer runs out, they get to complete the lap. Got a lot of drivers now starting their flying laps, so I expect to see a lot of position changes. Dynasty left the set back in yet, but he's currently in 14th place in the Ferrari. So right on board with Clifford coming down in 11th place. He's going to be one of the last drivers to cross the line if he can get there before time runs out.
Seconds into turn 16. Yep, like you said, just enough time as the yellow and second to cross the line. Clifford barely gets across the line with around 3 seconds remaining, but that will be it in this qualifying session. Already crossing the line. Jor is done. D90 is done. Doug is done. I mean, you don't have much people left in the session. I mean, Beastaz is still out there. It looks like Sean has been able to jump up to second place. That is now a 4/10 difference, so now it's going to be 1:32.5. So again, a 4/10 difference between first place and second place, which Beastaz has held over Sean. MLA's third, fourth is Sam as he's pulling off to the side, or fifth. So, go down the grid. At 6 is TS Odom, 7th is Clifford, 8th is Quasi, if I'm correct. Again, I don't want to mispronounce the name. Quasi is 8th.
Chris,
Chris?
okay. Yeah, we just won, yeah.
So again, looks like MLA is done. He improves his time to 1:32.3, so that'll be 2 times close enough to Beastaz. Not enough to tame him. Beastaz is done with a lap, and that lap is a 1:31.9. That dips right into the 1:30s. I mean, that lap is just fantastic, or 1:31s, I believe. So, again, a fantastic lap for Beastaz. Looking down the grid, I mean, D90 is joining and leaving. Clifford is done. Matt is done. Hammer time is done, like we said. So it's a minute and 40 remaining to finish up this session. Not to get back for another lap, just to finish up the session. So really, these drivers trying to improve on their time. Sean is still able to be running out on the circuit again. He has a 1:32.5. So again, he has a couple times to work up on Beastaz and MLA if he wants a chance at the front row today in this year's Chinese Grand Prix. So Sean is retired, so can't really spectate that. But he is now out of the session, so Sean will be done, and he'll be starting at least third position in today's Chinese Grand Prix. So I think that should be it. I mean, besides Sam in the pits, I think that should be it for qualifying. Beastaz does have the pole and puts off an impressive gap between second.
Yeah, the Williams driver has 4/10 gap over MLA, so it's going to be Mercedes in second and third, and Odems, who I know has been working hard on his lap time, so he's improved. He's up in 4th place for today's race. Dan jumped up to 5th in the last dying moments, and then you've got a Force India with Sam in 6th, Cliff is Red in 7th. Chris, the season 7 champion, is in 8th position, but 1.2 seconds off pole. Compact is just behind. He only just missed out on Chris. That's quite a close margin. In 9th place, James Slater in 10th, Cobbler's in 11th. Anyone from 11th down, of course, doesn't have to start on the tyre that they set their quickest time on.
Qualifying will be over, and we will see the grid in just a moment. brought to you by Codemasters. So that will end out. And if anyone's curious, we are not doing a full grid today because of the glitch that we experienced last week, which only saw 12 runners. But here we go down the grid. On pole is BSAT, second is MLA, third is Sean, fourth is TS Odems, fifth is Dan, sixth is Sam, seventh is Clifford, eighth is Chris, ninth is Compact, 10th is going to be James, 11th is Cobblers, 12th is going to be Doug, 13th Matt, 14th Jor, 15th D90, 16th Enact, 17th Hammer Time, and 18th is going to be Jamie as that rounds up the grid, and that is a gap from first to last, 2.4 seconds. Very close grid for this year's Chinese Grand Prix in the Pinnacle tier. So we are just moments away from the start of round number 2, the Chinese Grand Prix. And again, last minute things to say. Again, the pink helmets, every pink helmet we have, we will be donating 50p towards breast cancer awareness. And also, again, the merchandise on the F1TS Sub website. Why not check that out? The link should be somewhere on the channel. And also, if you have anything about the race, use the hashtag F1TSSub or do the @F1TSSub, and that should be good to go as we start this year's Chinese Grand Prix, the second round of season number 10. The 10 season anniversary for F1TSSub is moments away for this year's Chinese Grand Prix as time counts down. It looks to be cloudy, so I'm not sure if rain will have an impact on us or not. So as it counts down from 10 seconds, we will begin this year's Chinese Grand Prix. Remember, on the front row should be Beastaz and MLA. So the Williams driver of Beastaz will start on the front row. Here we go. The 5 red lights as qualifying, or the, I'm so sorry, formation lap will begin. I forgot. Formation lap. I'm not sure. Did we have it on last week?
Yeah, so the formation lap will get us underway. Obviously, they'll be warming their tyres up. They'll be getting a feel for the car on heavy fuel. And Bisas wearing a pink helmet, so good on him. MLA also wearing a pink helmet, so it's fantastic to see. Sean's got pink, I believe, and so has the Haas of TS Odems. I know breast cancer is very close to his heart, so congratulations to everyone supporting this great cause. It's fantastic to see all these pink helmets in what I believe the top 8 who all have pink helmets. If you're seeing the disqualified from session, it's only you're disqualified from the formation lap if you cause an incident.
I think I found the reason why I forgot we had a formation lap, because last week I went away when we had the formation lap because I was sick and I needed to blow my nose. So I think that's the reason why I forgot about the formation lap. So apologies on my part, but as you come around in sector number 2, again, I'd most likely, if I was going to have a pick for the win, most likely I'd have to put on either Beastaz or MLA or Sean. Again, I'm saying the top 3 in qualifying because they've shown a lot of speed at this circuit. I mean, especially Beastaz. I mean, looking at him, I believe he won last weekend's Grand Prix. I hate to question myself, but I know Beastaz put off a fantastic performance in Australia, and today in Shanghai, he looks to have motivation from last week as we head into this week's Grand Prix, the second round. So Beastaz will definitely have that on his mind after putting a 4/10 difference between him and MLA in qualifying. So really, Beastaz does have that sort of motivation to carry forward for today's Chinese Grand Prix. Do you have any picks to keep in mind?
Yeah, as you mentioned, the top 3, they all look pretty close. On the track, I think it'll be a lot different to qualifying in the sense that we know MLA is really consistent. Just one thing I thought I'd run through is who's starting on what tyre. So the top the top 10 are all starting on the super soft tyre. Of course, their quickest time, they have to start on the tyre that they finish their qualifying lap on. Cobbler's in 11th is on soft, so is Matt in 13th, so is Dynasty in 15th, and so is Hammertine in 17th. Jamie is the only driver on the grid to start on the medium tyre, so you possibly think that he's going to be trying to just pick his way through any incidents.
Thank you very much. As right now I'm stuck on board with B-sides, but here we go. Now the 5 red lights are on our screens. Round number 2, the Chinese Grand Prix. Here we go. Lights set and away we go. And B-Sads gets off to an exceptional start as he already goes offensive, bringing down MLA to the inside, all the way down to the outside. B-Sads gonna have to hang it. He does, however, maintain the lead. Now Williams So you do see a lot of position switching in the background. I'm looking further in the back. There's not a single spin, which is good. So again, still 18 cars all over the circuit. So that is good news. I see 3 wide in the back with a Renault and with the Force India McLaren Honda. So it looks to be as the Sauber does fall back. I think he lost the back end. I think that was Hammer Time who lost the back end. But BSAT still leads the way. There's a position change behind. That is Compact falling back, as looks like Chris was able to get by for the position in the Ferrari. So he'll get that in mind. Also, James gets hung to dry in the outside. Now we'll have the inside back in this corner with the Force India for 12th place. Will to it for the position. He'll try and get it back, but around the outside he goes. Can he maintain on those super soft tires? Not sure if he can. However, he's almost at the edge as the Force India loses the back end. And it looks to be Matt is hanging on as the Force, or not the Force India, the McLaren Honda is trying to do it, but around the outside again goes James, and he'll finally get the position that he deserves. He hung it around the outside 3 different times, and finally got the position he deserved. So right now, leading the way is Beastaz down the straight, trying to avoid slipstream all the way down to the inside. And we are almost done with this first lap, and Beastaz trying to find which way to go down the straight, but already leading by what it is, more than a second. Beastaz is going to come through for the first lap done out of 28, and he is going to lead the first lap in today's Chinese Grand Prix. There's a lot of position switching in the back, however. Down the straight, a lot of dive bombs made into the hairpin. But Beastaz goes the fastest lap across the line for lap number 1. And Beastaz will be our leader a lot down the straight. A lot of drivers running wide. There's position switching all over. I can see Clifford trying to hang on the position around the outside. He goes to the Haas driver as he does him very well there. I think it was just a terrible exit, but a pass for 3rd, 4th, 5th place, somewhere between there. As it looks like the Sauber driver trying to make his way through. That is Dan. We were talking about him earlier. Now he's getting attacked from TS Odom as he's trying to go to the outside. Can almost fit in there. I mean, I think he ran wide. He just glitched off the circuit on my screen. But wow, a lot of going on in just one lap. Surprised there's no collisions at all, but a lot of pit passing and a lot of racing going on. So that just goes to show how much racing we'll have in this year's Chinese Grand Prix.
Be fantastic. I haven't seen anyone spin off or have any accidents. I know that TS Odem's got up to 3rd position at the start of this race, but the Mercedes and also Dan have retaken those positions. So there aren't too many position changes in terms of, as we said, no one's had an incident, so there's been no falling down the order majorly for anyone. They've all kept it pretty clean, and they're all just starting to kind of spread out slightly, as we see a McLaren going wide in the background there. I'm not quite sure who that was. They're all going to the inside, then back to the outside on the straight to try and break the toe. Riding aboard with Cobblers. Is he going to try the Haas driver down the inside of the Renault? No, the Renault covers him off. Again, this is as the Red Bull and the McLaren get a little bit tasty. Those two are going to be side by side coming into last corner, and they are indeed. There's a Sauber there as well, which I believe is Hammer Time, who's trying to get in on the action. There's a Ferrari down in 17th place, which is Dynasty. And as you said, Bisas lead this race by 1.5 seconds, and he seems to be pretty comfortable at the moment. Be interesting to see what the 2 Mercedes drivers can do, if anything. Will team orders become a play? Will they try to help each other? We do not know. But yeah, as you said, Alan, we're going to be in for a long race with some good racing if they carry on the way they are.
Yes, I saw a lot of position changing in the back. I mean, a lot does happen in the course of 3 laps. But, I mean, I was looking back with a couple, there's a driver that ran wide. That was McLaren Honda. Really cost him down the straight because he got a terrible exit off the long swooping right-hander, big hairpin that leads down to the main straight, the back straight, I mean, that has DRS. So really just costed him down the straight. But as we are in lap number 3, he's trying to attack now in this Haas driver. This is 11th place and 12th. Dog is trying to get ahead of Cobbler. So, and again, you can see the Haas driver, he almost ran wide there, but really, I'm already surprised. I'm looking at the time difference. I can see MLA and Beast has the time between them is already more than 2 seconds down the straight. I'm riding on board with, again, Dog in 12th place. McLaren Honda driver is trying to find a way around on board with him, and he's trying to get, remember, 11th place. Right now he's in 12th. He may try the outside, late braking against the driver in softs. May try the switch back, however, and that's what he's going to do. Can't get, however, a terrible exit for the Haas driver. He may try and dive down to the inside. That is the position he does have in mind, but backs out of it in the final corner. So he'll come across the line for lap number 4, but a terrible exit. The Haas driver is going to try and find a way around. He's going to go around the outside, down the straight. He'll take P11. So he'll get the position heading into turn number 1, just enough time to clear him. And really, once that happens, you really can't shove into the inside in turns 2 and 3, because really, once you get past in turn 1 around the outside, can't really do it. Back in 15th, it looks like Matt did get passed by a Necht. So other than that, we're single file, or at least it should be. So yeah, I mean, that gap between BSAS and MLA is already 2.5 seconds. So really, BSAS making a lot of time, done very well in just 4 laps. Now it's 2.5 seconds, so he knows what he's doing. And if he does have a problem, I don't think it cost him that much, considering the gap he's made in just 4 laps.
Yeah, there's been, as you said, some great racing. Cobblers and Dog, which we rode on board with as you were talking about them, that was some really good, knowing what was going to happen in terms of the cutback, as you said. Dog played it really smooth there on the exit of the last corner, and he was able to just sail past on the outside. Lap 4, obviously, so DRS is open now. We're riding on board with Hammer Time, who is only a 1/10 of a second. He's going to go down the inside before he even get on the back straight. He's really on the inside, but they're side by side. They both got DRS. This is going to be done in the braking zone. What can the Sauber driver do? They both brake. DRS shuts on both cars. They keep it clean. The Red Bull sticks it around the outside. It's going to have the inside for the final corner. And again, Alan, this is some fantastic racing. Completely clean. No incidents. As we see in the background, we've got a Ferrari, Force India and Red Bull just about to watch and join this battle.
Yeah, again, a lot of stuff happening in just a matter of 10 seconds. I mean, the Sauber driver looking to the inside. There's a bump as they make contact as he loses the back end. You can see in that corner, you're supposed to turn right. However, the wheel was facing left just to keep the car going. So the Red Bull does hang on, which is Jor. I mean, that took a lot of force and a lot of stuff to keep that car going. But he tried the bump and run, wasn't able to get through. I mean, now he is, or at least he got by one of the Red Bulls, but he was still ahead of him at the time. So now, I mean, looking at Jor, he's still barely hanging on. So really, he fought for that position just to maintain it. So again, a fantastic job to him, as he's still in the 13th position. But any passes I'm looking at, there's a chance that Sam could get close or within to Dan. I mean, this 3-car pack up in the front, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 6th is Chris, by the way. They're pretty close to each other. I mean, they're around a second within each, but I mean, it shouldn't be too much to see between them, because everyone else is just pulling away from each other. I mean, even down the straight, slipstream isn't that evident, so yeah, a little
Here
bit
goes
of it is
Dogonanis. He's on one of the Renaults.
In 11th place. Yep, 11th place. He'll try and go to the outside. Can he hang it? He'll try and run it wide for momentum coming back up the hill through turns 15 and 16. There, Jor making the position, trying to hang on behind. Looks like the McLaren will hang on, but Jor will get the position over Hammer Time, so he will get that to hit his advantage. But down the straight, it looks like he's going to peek out to the inside. They'll be wheel to wheel heading into turn number 1. Will he try and force it to the inside? Looks like he will. I don't think he'll have a chance at it, though. Back to single file. So Jor will still be in 13th, and I'm not sure how much longer he can hang on, because every time that he holds someone up, that gap between him and Cobblers does increase. And you can see it's pretty big between Cobblers and you look back at Jor. So really, the more he holds them up, the more it's going to cost them at a chance of...
Yeah, definitely. As we battle on this track, drivers are just going to be losing time to the car in front. Obviously, DRS is going to help. There's 2 DRSs at China, one down the main straight and one down the long back straight, which I believe is the second longest straight, if not the longest on the calendar. Jor is definitely having a moment there as he exits what I believe is turn 9, and I'm starting to see raindrops, Alan. I don't know if it's just me, but on the camera there I could have sworn, yeah, so perhaps we're going to get some, yeah, that'll be interesting, that'll spice things up.
Oh, contact between Hammer Time and Jor. I took him on board with Jor to see if there's rain. There is rain, and there was a fantastic, I wouldn't say fantastic, but there was a wheel-banging pass. As you can see, the Red Bull behind, trying to find which way. He has a Red Bull, 2 Red Bulls behind him as there's a bump and run. Both Red Bulls trying to make it 3 wide as he has to rejoin the circuit. Sauber does run wide, loses 2 positions, so So Jor and Anek sort of work together to take advantage of Hammer Time. As you can see now, the radius is really coming down now. As down the straight is going to be the battle of the bulls. Down the straight, a little team orders. As Anek knocked on the door, said, okay, I'm going to have to come on by now. So Anek will be ahead of Jor, working together to try and catch back up to 10th or 12th place, which is Cobblers. They know they do have to work together after, not Jor. Hammer Time has been sort of holding them up. Same with Jor. Jor's definitely holding them up in the beginning, so that's why Jor had to left by Anek. So now they can work together down the straight to pull each other closer to Cobblers, who's in 12th place. But now the question is, you can see rain falling on the circuit. If it's going to get worse, when do you think these drivers will be able to pit? Maybe within the next 3-4 laps? I'm most likely going to say either lap 9 or 10.
Yeah, the drivers who are on the super soft tires are going to be feeling a little bit of pressure now, because they know they won't be able to go more than probably 3 more laps, maybe possibly 4 on these tires, especially the top 10 who all qualified on them. So they'll want the rain to come, and they'll want it to come heavy so that they can pit and not lose an advantage. I'm just riding on board with the McLaren of Dog and Anis. He goes on the grass. I can't see what happened there. He still stays behind the Renault of James Slater. These two are having a good scrap. A little late to open the DRS, but Dog and Anis has got it open now. Is he going to go outside, inside? He chooses the inside. Late on the brakes. They have a little tap, but no harm done there. As there's a Haas of Cobblers now joining this. He's only 2 tenths behind, and these three are going to exit the last corner nose to tail. This is some fantastic racing as the McLaren goes wide and he loses the position. He has a moment, and they're all starting to struggle on these tires in these conditions. So,
yep, like
has
Sam
anyone pitted?
Yeah, Sam has pitted. He now has fitted the intermediate tire. It says on the left-hand side of my screen, however, it still looks like he has some slicks on. I think it's just a glitch again, but Sam is going to exit the pits on intermediate tires, so he'll be the first one on those green walls, or the non-slicks. So really, down at 18th, this is a big gamble for him. He was running inside the points, so now Sam, what he needs to do is, let's hope the rain gets a lot worse, and this will pay off in the end for him. But lap 8 out of 28, we have 21 laps to go, and rain is starting to fall out this circuit, and now there's a pass for, there's a Toro Rosso off the circuit. That is going to be Clifford. Again, like you said, the conditions are getting a lot worse, so these drivers do have a lot in their hands right now. So Clifford did run wide. He's now back in the 10th position, but McLaren looks to the inside. Can't get enough of that. However, he does miss the apex. There was a little bit of contact. However, Clifford is falling off, and there goes the McLaren by. So falling down, I'm not sure if there's damage with Clifford or there's something wrong with that car. But definitely he's falling off the pace, and it's really evident now that the switchover point could be within these next 2 laps.
Yeah, this is some great racing. As you said, the Toro Rosso went off, and he just went back and back. So whether he got dirt on his tyres or cooled them down too much, are we going to see any of the big boys come into the pits and fit the intermediates? Not so far, I don't believe, as I think Clifford's Red pitted. So Clifford's Red is now in the pits, which prompts a few drivers up a place. MLA, he did get the gap down to 2 seconds, but it's now gone back up to 2.5. So Haas isn't pulling away as he was in Australia after he overtook Flair, but he's still got a nice comfortable lead of 2.5 seconds as they're riding on board with 8th, 9th, 10th, and there's yellow flags in Sector 1. Jamie is now up to 15th after starting on those medium tyres. Matt moves up, Dynasty moves up, who is half a second behind Hammer Time. There's so many cars within a second of each other, and it's just fantastic to see that they're all keeping it clean, having a few touches, but that's part of racing. As the rain is definitely coming down now, I'm riding on board with James Slater, and he's catching his teammate up, who's having a horrendous time, and spins it, and he's in the wall. So he's dropped down. Yeah.
So it looks like he made some sort of mistake. I mean, I've seen a lot of drivers, they just, they go on the throttle too early and they kick the back end out and they just go on the grass. It just forces the car left, even if you steer right. Down the straight and out right now for 8th place between Dog and James. Christopher McLaren was able to get the position. So down the straight, what move will these two drivers be doing? McLaren looks to the inside, and to the outside is a Renault, but now he'll just back off of that one, maybe try switch back to back, or a better line off the exit of turn 14. So lap number 10, about to be 11, so I think it's around lap 10, but looks like TS Odoms and looks like Dog and both Renaults are in the pits. I think that shows something. The track is that bad, the Renaults are willing to double stack in the pits, so I think that just goes to show the intermediates are the tires to be on right now. So we have around 5-6 cars in the pits, and we have many others coming in as well. I forgot to say, Clipper put on the intermediates as well. But I saw a couple other cars in the pits. I don't think any of them put on the intermediates. James put on the intermediates. He's out and away. The second Renault, what will he put on? Not exactly sure. I want to ride it on board with some of these drivers because I don't think all of them put on the right tire. I wouldn't say the right tire, but it looks like Dog's off the pits. He put on a brand new set of Super Softs. So that's a little interesting. And the other Renault of Compact, he's also on these Super Softs, while everyone else is deciding to go on the intermediates. As already you can just see McLaren Honda go by James. He flew by him on those super soft tires. I mean, yes, those tires are the ones that be on right now, but for how much longer? Do you think Dog made a good decision on pitting for another set of super softs or not?
I don't think so, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much choice he had. Maybe it would have been better to go on to the intermediates even if it wasn't quite ready, because as we're seeing, the drivers that are in intermediates are all in the last half of the grid. The top boys who haven't pitted yet, they're not losing time to the guys at the back, as far as I can see in terms of the delta time. So it would just be interesting to see how quickly this rain will continue to fall, and at what point the leaders have to switch. The top 5, who all started in the top 10, as Dan pits from 4th place, so he obviously thinks it's time. So does Chris in 5th place. But the front 3 have all continued on. This is going to be interesting. What is the Ferrari going to put on? And he's going to put on the super soft tires. He's gone for another set of super softs. So Dan puts intermediates on. This is some real different strategies here that's going on in terms of tire choices. And I honestly couldn't tell you which one's right.
Yeah, I mean, Nick just came in and Nick put on the medium tires. So that also changes up the game, so maybe the medium tires you want to be on, because I know really with rain conditions and if you want to be on slicks, it most likely be easier to put on the medium tires, because like you said, maybe the rain could carry on for a little bit longer. The track would still take some time to get wet, so when you're all going to super softs, you still don't know what tire to be on. If you're on the mediums, it works out perfectly. It works out for how long this rain will be. It's really a smart decision by Enact if you wanted to stay on the slicks. But as I can see, if I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers on those intermediate tires, while everyone else is still on slicks. If I pull up the other detail on the stops, I look back and it looks like, and never mind. Actually, Jamie and TS Odom is battling. I was gonna say everyone inside the top 6 have not pitted, but everyone else, I mean, besides TS Odoms, I mean, there's only 6 drivers who have not pitted so far yet today. I think that says something. And half of those drivers put on the intermediate tires, everyone else put on slick tires. So again, I think it's really confusing as B-Saz and MLA are in the pits as well. Let's see what will happen. We're on board with B-Saz into the pits. What tires will he put on? He'll put on the intermediate tires. So will MLA. And then off the pits, will he jump him? No, he won't. But also in the pits out of Sean, he'll put on the intermediate
they
tires.
Stacked.
So I think, yep, they stacked in the pits. So not really convenient, but all of them put on the intermediate tires. So really, I think now it's just going to show what tires are the winners to be on right now. But Cobblers takes the lead for the first time today in this year's Chinese Grand Prix. He leads on the soft tires in the Haas. So right now he'll be leading this yellow in Sector 3. Scrolling through the cameras, that is a Renault into the wall. That is in turn 15, the right-handed kink. And that is 11th place at Compact into the wall. And falling down, I wouldn't say falling down the grid. There's another Sector 3 yellow. I think that's him for getting up to speed as mess. So that is that. It looks like there's other battles up ahead. There's TS Odoms trying to battle. He was battling with, I think that was D90 who needed a pit, and he did. He just got by him. And the thing I noticed is that, again, softs versus super softs, and like I saw the soft tire beat the super soft driver of TS Odoms and D90. Saw that, but also looks like Compact is in the pits. He's finally deciding to get off his slick tires. So fix that front wing, but he'll go on another set of what it looks to be slick tires, as it looks like somebody is on the session. That is Jor. So he's left the session. But now the question is to ask, when do you think everyone else will put on intermediate tires? Because really, the field looks pretty split between it.
I have to say, Alan, that I don't think it's time for intermediates. Cobblers, who's leading this race, has opened up 2.5 seconds since he came past the pit lane when Beast has exited. So I don't know if Beast has had a bit of a moment, but he's gained at least a couple seconds.
Yep, Cobblers is into the pits. Cobblers is into the pits. So now it'll be time for him to pit. He already has lost the lead. What tires will he put on? Let's see what his choice is. Remember, it is raining, so it is a split decision. We don't know, but he will put on the intermediate tires. So the one setting faster time in slip tires will decide to betray his green wall tires and go out, or betray slip tires and go out on green walls. So he'll fall down the grid, barely inside the top 10, exiting the pits. Can he maintain that? I think he will. So in 10th place, Cobblers rejoins the circuit. Not sure where he was before, but he looked like it did pay off side by side for what it is. 8th place down to the inside. McLaren Honda looks like to be dog. You got Sean. Which one can hang on? The one in the super softs losing the back end behind. He saw Sean. That was incredible. But holding on to lead of 8th place so far is going to be dog. So again, like you said, I don't think it's time for intermediates just yet. But in 2 to 3 laps time, it should be time for intermediates.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sean has lost out massively through stacking behind his teammate there. I think he's had some sort of incident because he's dropped from what was 3rd position all the way down to 9th position. I know Sean and MLA are good friends, so I presume they'd be on headset together, and they would have discussed who was going to come in. As you see a Haas have a bit of a moment. I think that was Odems, and Dynasty gets back through after Odems worked hard for a few laps to get past. So yeah, Odems is still on the super soft tires. Is it now past the point of return? Chris is gaining quickly as MLA is now 7/10 behind Beast Hat. Do you reckon we're going to have some sort of action here for the lead? Because it looks like Beast Hat is not as comfortable on these intermediate tires as he was on the super softs.
No offense to him, but he's never been comfortable in wet conditions, and I know him as a driver. He's never been stable on, I wouldn't say intermediate conditions, but really just wet conditions. And as you can see, it's evident in today's races. MLA is just reeling him in with these last couple of laps on this intermediate tire. So I think, like we said, tires to be on right now. Look back at D90, TS Odems, Chris, Jamie, Inact, and Dog. They're all on slick tires. So really, you look inside the top 8, only 2 drivers are on intermediates, and they're running 1-2. But other than that, I honestly do think there will be a path to lead, as it looks like TS Odems goes up to 3rd place. The Haas driver does further advance himself up into the grid and into the lower podium spot. And look behind, it looks like D90's falling back even more as Chris gets by. So teammate passing teammate, I think there's something wrong, or there's some team orders going on. Also falling back behind in 15th is Clifford.
Look at this.
Looked like he lost the back end, but 2nd place. Looked like he ran wide, so TS Odems is now in a 2nd place. So there goes the gap that he was reeling him in. Looks like no MLA has to defend for his life on the podium, as there's some contact, some lag. Not sure what's going on with this camera angle. It looks like MLA is slowing down to 4th place. So now the Ferrari driver gets him, and right now he is in a Ferrari sandwich headed down the straight. And it'll be interesting to see as we're about to head to the halfway mark in this Grand Prix already. So down the straight, not sure if DRS is still enabled. It should be. Yes, it is, by the DRS flap off the Mercedes man. Down the straight, let's see what it should be. Trying to go defensive into the hairpin, turn number 14. The Ferrari's going to dive it down to the inside. Looks like he'll be able to get the position. There's some beat and banging off turn 14. Barely maintains the position. So for the time being, looks like he'll make up the position in the hairpin. Well done to him. I mean, it did take up a couple some damage with him, but down the straight, what it should be a position he gained. As you can see, weaving behind the Mercedes, trying to find a way around, diving to the inside once again. He's not done yet. MLA trying to maintain his position. The number 25 they bang again into turns number 2 and 3. But you look ahead, there's 3 wide, and Beastaz is falling back even more. But you just missed that. You saw 3 wide. They were literally a sandwich. No more better description than that. But now your new race lead on those super soft tires is TS Odems, but not just yet. Wow, TS Odems hanging on. He just charged through that field I knew when he's passing everyone, I saw him as a candidate for the lead. I didn't think in lap 15, maybe in 5 laps from now, not right now. So really, the better question is, looks like if I take an onboard view, with TS Odoms, it doesn't look like the rain is getting any worse. Do you think that the drivers on the intermediates will have to pit for slicks down the road?
I think they're going to have to do something. When you think about what Odems has done, he was very clever. He started on the super soft tires, and he wasn't sure whether they were going to last until the rain came. So rather than waiting and finding out as you've got yellow flags in Sector 1, he pitted the first person to pit, put on another set of supers, and just absolutely charged. And what that enabled him to do was, come the time when the rain did need to pit, and all the other drivers pitted, he was able to be right back with them, but on the correct tyre. As we see, DRS is still open. They would have closed that if the track was wet enough and unsafe. MLA is dropped down to 4th position. Jamie, who started at last place, is now in 5th position, yet to pit, but still on the medium tyres. As we see a Ferrari of Dynasty coming into the pits, he's currently on the soft tyre. You have to say, Jamie from 18th place, he's kept his nose clean. He's watched everyone else in front of him pit, and he's just seeing what's happening.
I think that's a little of an understatement of what we've seen from him today. A fantastic performance. Does put him, like you said, inside the top 5 barely. It looks like D90 is exiting the pits, and he is on the medium tires. So changing his mind on something during this race. You see that slick tires are the ones to be on right now. You further look up through the grid, so TS Odoms is leading. However, not by much. I think Beast has realized his mistake, and now he's been maintaining the gap. We do know if they were on similar tire and similar condition in this similar car, most likely Beast has ahead of TS Odoms. But like we said, the slick tires are still the tires to be on right now. TS Odoms is still barely hanging on to that gap, which is a half a second right now. So TS Odoms has that advantage as he runs very wide. And wow, never mind. Beast takes the lead. He runs over a foam sign. We talked about the helicopter cam. Runs wide again. There must be some sort of problem with TS Odoms as he loses the back end. There's a lot of lag with TS Odoms. And he's falling back to 3rd. So that diminishes everything he's worked up towards. Gonna take an onboard view with him. Down the straight. Looks to be he still has part of his front wing, which is good. I thought it was somehow missing, but Beast retakes the lead, headed to lap number 17 out of 28. We are headed to 12 laps to go in this season's Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, this is some fantastic racing. As you said, we had 3rd, 2nd and 3rd a couple laps ago, as we see Chris and Odems coming to the pits. Chris goes so deep, he does a Lewis Hamilton in 2007. Odems goes slightly deep as well. As Jamie's retires from the session, what's happened? He's binned it coming into the pits.
He's actually done a Lewis Hamilton. He's actually parked in the location Hamilton was in 2007, I believe. And
Sam spinned
really
it.
The same exact location. Yeah, this time he lost the tire. And, well, I mean, even with the gravel, I don't think much could have done to stop him. There's someone else off. Same place. There's someone else off. That's a Ferrari 90 off. In the same place, but this time head on into the wall. I think, sort of say, a lot of people deciding to pit now. I'm not sure if the rain looks to be getting worse, as you can see from a couple drivers put on the intermediate tires. I think it's now time. As you can see, some were headed in, some lost the back end. Due to them being on slick tires, they had to pit again. The conclusion is, it's time for the intermediate tires. You can see they lost control of their car entering the pits. They lost the tire doing so. And that's not going to be so good for them in the race, obviously, because 1, they're out, and 2, again, not so good for them. So we're now left down to, I believe, if I do my math correctly, 15 runners in the Chinese Grand Prix, as Hammer Time does get someone down the straight. Looks like everyone else is putting for the intermediate tires, so that changes up the diversity. Looks to be we still have 4 drivers left on the slicks, 3 on the mediums, 1 on the super softs. Dog is still in 3rd, but for how much longer will they decide to stay on the pit? And do you think we'll see any other retirements with a pit entrance?
Yeah, that is amazing. I've never seen, as you said, 2 drivers in a row, so they're just struggling. They're carrying too much speed, and they're struggling to get the car slowed down, as we see a position change for 2nd and 4th. for the McLaren. So Dog and Anis is coming into the pits. Let's see if he can keep it together. He does, as we see the carbon fiber.
Whoa,
Now,
the Red Bull of a net. That was scary to watch. The back end touched the wall, but he was able to make it into the pits barely, just enough. That was scary to watch. It really was. And maybe a team member on that team, a lot more, as your heart would have been pounding. But looks to be everyone else putting on the intermediate tires. Actually, hold on. Someone putting on...
Dog and Anis is putting on mediums.
Tires.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not sure what he has in mind. But, it's out of the box. That's, to say the least, out of the box. Out idea.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on his times. And also, you've got Hammer Time also on the mediums. And so is Matt in the Force India. So, it's a real... Those three that are basically doing something different, as BSAS now has a 4.3 second lead over MLA after getting back through those dry attacking drivers. Now Sean's back up to third, 13 seconds behind his teammate. Chris, after pitting for finally for Inters, is in fourth position with Odems behind in fifth. The Red Bull of Eniket is in sixth with Dog and Anis on the mediums behind. He'll want to be looking to get some tire temperature into those mediums, because the track definitely does look wet enough for intermediates. The rest of the drivers, as we said, think so. Cobblers is in 8th position, and they've all seemed to spread out, Alan. So, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 3.
Oh, never mind. Forced India, sliding. That was Matt into the pits. Lost control of the car, however, he's able to stop it. Now he parks it for blocking the pit entrance when...
he's retired.
Yep. That should be a disqualification for blocking from the lap that just came in the pits, however. That is going to be NLA. So that did cost him a couple seconds due to him blocking the pit lane. But looks like now, is that Sean? Never mind, we'll let Sean. Sean exiting the pits in the Mercedes, and believe it or not, he's in the pit. So really, I don't think that coming out in the pits affected him that much, considering that he just made his second pit stop, and he's out there in 6th place. So, there's another car in the pits that is going to be Dog, and right now, says he's on the medium tires. Alan McGaver says he's on the sauce, but he is headed into the pits. Remember, McLaren Honda did not do so good in 2016, so their pit stall is all the way down towards the bottom. And finally, he'll decide to put on these intermediate tires. So, one driver left on the circuit. That is not intermediate tires, that is Hammer Time. When do you think he'll be able to pit? I think most likely he shouldn't hit this lap. There is yellow in Sector 1 and 2, however. I'm not sure who that is.
I'm not sure either. Yeah. As Hammer Time pits, so he's the last driver to pit. Surely he's going to put on what everybody else now is on, as Sean overtakes the Red Bull up to 5th position. As you said, he pitted and he only lost 2 positions and has already gained 1 back. Odems is under half a second on Chris. I believe DRS is probably disabled now. They're really struggling to exit this turn 12. And will Odems be able to do anything without DRS? MLA, as we said, 4.3 seconds to BSAS, can't bring that down. So you'd have to say that BSAS, even in these conditions, is starting to look a little more comfortable than he did when he first came out. Odems versus Chris, they've had lots of battles on track previously. They're the closest one at the moment.
Look at the grid. I was noticing BSAS. Look at the gap, 5.5 seconds more than that. And it seems to be he's coped with the weather, found his weakness, and improved on it. So right now he is increasing the gap, 5.5 seconds between him and MLA. With further back, there is a battle, however, for the final podium spot between Chris and TS Odems. Both on the intermediate tires. I kind of wondered if TS Odems pitted on intermediate tires to begin with. Kind of wonder what would be for him to see what position he'd be in right now. He's probably second or third, but TS Odems trying to find a way around that Ferrari for 3rd place. And it's taking him a while, a long while, that he rather would have liked to see. But for the time being, it is going to be TS Odems stuck behind Chris. However, in F1, patience is key. You need to wait till you see room to make the pass, and that is what TS Odems is doing right now. As we further look through the grid, I think that's the closest someone else is to a car right now. So really, not sure what Mick is going to do, but I'd rather just stay with TS Odoms and Chris. See if anything happens, but down the straight, really see that gap is just increasing. So really, with TS Odoms and Chris, seems to be that TS Odoms is pulling away, and looks to be that Chris is pulling away down the straight, and TS Odoms behind it down the straight. We'll have an opportunity now. I'm not sure if I got a notification saying that there's no DRS, but down the straight, across the line of DRS, not enabled as he is within half a second. So it looks like the way to disable DRS is every driver is on the intermediate tires. Speaking of switching, looks like the pit stop for MLA. This is going to be 8 laps to go, and MLA does make a pit stop. Let's see if either Chris or Odoms gets a position down the straight. I don't think they'll be able to. He's almost at the end of the pit lane. It's going to be very close. Does it look like Odoms ran wide in the final corner? It looks to be MLA off the pits. Can he get it? Just about. And he'll barely get the position. As you can see, if you look in the rear view mirror of the Mercedes of MLA, you can see the Ferrari right behind. So obviously he does have a threat now. So it looks to be a 3-car battle for second place. Not sure if anything is happening on the racetrack, but maybe within the next couple laps you can see a good battle forming up between these three.
Do you think Beasthouse is going to be able to go to the end on the intermediate tyres that he pitted at his first round of pit stops?
Not exactly sure. I mean, we just saw someone pit. That was MLA. I mean, everyone else has done 2 stops, 3 stops. George done a 5 stop. And a little interesting, I believe he is the only one in the field to do a 1 stop so far. Remember, Beasthouse and MLA pit on the same lap. So Beasthouse should not make it to the end. If he does, and I will be super impressed if he does. Oh, a little congratulations sticker from me. That would be, you know, sort of my thing. But most likely, Beasthouse should be pitting within the next couple of laps. Maybe this lap, maybe next lap. Never mind, he pits his lap. However, he runs very wide. Luckily, there's some asphalt there this year. A little, you know, a buffer space between that and the wall. So that's good. But for the meantime, Beasthouse into the pits that lost him a second or two. Let's see if MLA will get not only the undercut as he runs very wide, a position for 3rd place, however. And it looks like Chris and looks like Odoms are off. And MLA headed, looks like Beasthouse will maintain the position, but was just back with Chris and Odoms. And remember, it was a pass in turn 14. They were side by side in the hairpin. And it looks to be Chris is now increasing the gap after a little beat bang was made in turn 14. So that will most likely happen again. And looks like MLA is increasing that gap. It is now 3 seconds between MLA and Chris for 2nd position.
Yeah, definitely those fresh inters are really helping MLA, although he didn't really close the gap through undercut to Beasthouse. It's still 4.2 seconds. It was about 5.6, so he gained just over a second. But as you said, Chris and Odoms are continuing to battle. Neither one of them seems to be able to make a move stick and keep the position. Are they going to go side by side through the long left-hander turn 5? No, they're not able to. We see that James Slater is the other driver within a second of the car in front. He's currently in 10th place, 6 tenths behind Dogananis in 9th. And yeah, Odoms versus Chris. This is going to be an extremely interesting battle as MLA brings the gap down to 3.8. Is he going to have a final push? Sean is currently in 5th place and he's catching on these two battling. So that could bring Shaw back into play for this final podium position. I can't believe that we're on lap 22 of 28 already. It's gone very quickly. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and also on Twitter at F1TS Hub. Head over to the website where we've got some great stuff for sale in the F1TS Hub shop. And Chris and Odoms are going side by side, so forget all about that stuff for a second. They're wheel to wheel. Chris doesn't give Odoms room. Odoms is off the track. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really
They're not being friendly.
Maybe some words exchanged after today's Chinese Grand Prix. The more they battle, the more Sean reels them in. Remember, he was in 6th, so he did pass a next. We did miss that, and that gap was 14 seconds. So Sean may be the man to look out for, maybe posing a threat to Chris and Odoms. I mean, we do have a couple laps to go in this Grand Prix, but if they keep on battling like this, Sean is really just going to pass both of them. And not exactly sure if Mercedes would, or not, never mind. I thought Odom's is Mercedes for second, but he's in the Haas. Never mind that thought. But back in third place, again, a lot of I wouldn't say skeptic driving, but I mean I was looking at Chris just running Odom's off the circuit 2 times. Like you said, words should be exchanged after this Grand Prix, and I got surprised by that. I mean, never knew a podium meant so much to these two. I mean, I know they're fast, and I know they both deserve a podium, but in this scenario, only one gets it. But if they keep acting like doofuses, battling like this, neither of them will get a podium, and Sean will pass them. So really, I wouldn't put too much marbles into the basket when it comes to battling with Chris, Fire, or Odoms, but really just pass when you know you can hang on, and I would pass when you, knowing your defensive position. Sort of like, never mind, he looks to the inside, maybe down the straight, he could try something. No, I was going to say maybe, have like a little backup plan. Looks sort of like insurance to your house if it breaks, have a backup plan. Maybe with this pass, knowing, let's say if something doesn't work, you should have a backup plan if something goes wrong. But down the straight, he's going to try and defend to the inside. Goes Chris right against the grass. Back to the outside. Goes Odoms. Let's see if he's going to get ran off the circuit. This time he runs it wide. He knows better. I think he took some notes. I think he knows better. Maybe he'll try and pass him into turn 1. There's not much to run off. And if it does, then there'd be some sort of penalty given to the Ferrari. If so, right off the circuit in turn 1. That'd be obvious. But we head down the straight across the line. New lap will be for these two drivers around the outside. Can he do it? He did look to the outside, but just backed out of it. I mean, not sure if he was confident with that move. He's now going to try back to the inside, but Chris is still hanging on to third. Do you think Odoms will be able to get by Chris for third position?
I know Odoms pretty well, and he's only going to stay behind like this, messing around for so much longer before he just sends one up the inside. As we said, Chris is being really defensive. He is a former champion, so he wants this third position and this podium. But as you said earlier, this is going to bring Sean into play. And guess what's happening now? Sean is right on the back of Odoms, more so than Odoms is on the back of Chris. So MLA is 3.2 behind Visas with 5 laps to go in this race. And yes, Sean goes down the inside of Odoms. So Sean is now up to 4th place ahead of Odoms. And surely it's only a matter of time before he gets past Chris.
I'm going to say that he ran wide, so now the Haas is outside, but no, never mind. Was able to recover back at the switchback, but now will it be wheel to wheel? He does get the position back down to the right-hander. They'll be side by side down the straight. This will allow Chris to pull ahead down the straight with just 5 laps to go. It's going to be between looks to be Odoms and Chris side by side, or not Chris, Sean and Odoms. Never mind, but down the straight should be the advantage on the outside. Maybe is he going to run him off the circuit here? They bang, and this is a lot worse than Chris did. I think Odoms is just furious and really wants his 3rd place that he deserves. Then he'll start battling with the Mercedes man of Sean. But now that's a little disappointing for the Mercedes man of Sean. He worked so much to get ahead of TS Odoms, and then just shoved him off the circuit. Not sure if any penalty action should be for the Ferrari driver and the Haas driver between 3rd and 5th, or 3rd and 4th, I mean. But really, for the position that we see here, I'm surprised that they're still able to do that, because I know in this game, if they keep on making contact, there can be some damage to their car. But now, looks like TS Odoms still hanging on against Sean. Remember, 4 laps to go. And again, the more they battle, the more Chris pulls ahead. And now, moving to the
there's
inside,
contact.
Moving on a braking, there's contact as they almost slide off the circuit. But again, I'm not sure how much longer they can keep on doing this cleanly. I'm not even sure if I should say cleanly. But now there's a broken part of the front wing from the Mercedes. It's very evident. Do you think this will affect him with this final 4-lap sprint?
It doesn't look like it through these corners, but yeah, for sure that was a bit of front wing that came off there. He's going to sling it down the inside. I don't know how much time that's losing him, but Chris just must be laughing now, because he's got a couple seconds lead over these two. And yeah, look, the Mercedes is struggling, really struggling. So is it going to be now over for the Mercedes after that? I couldn't really tell if Odoms moved in the braking zone, but they both tried a late lunge down to the inside, and Odoms, who was in front, didn't want the Mercedes to go down the inside of him. I've got a battle going on for 10th and 9th, which I mentioned earlier. It's only half a second between these two, and James is slowly reeling Dogananis in, and it'll be interesting to see, with the few laps remaining in this race, can he send one down the inside? MLA just dipped under 3 seconds, but now it's dead on 3 again. Will he be able to do anything to catch Beast House in these remaining laps? I don't think so.
So we have 3 laps to go in this Chinese Grand Prix. The gap has diminished between NLA and Beast House for sure. I think there could have been some sort of battle, but really just one little mistake costed MLA out away in the pits. But also on the track, remember, I believe either lost the back end or ran wide on the corner. That cost him a couple seconds, and he is railing him in really fast. Not sure if it'll be enough to gain and get the race lead. If I look back at 3rd place, Chris is having a field day. He's now safely in 3rd place. But I'm looking back at what's the BTS Odoms, and really, he is trying to reel in Chris again, but I don't think he has enough time. I mean, we were looking at him to begin with, and a little bit of a note I did capture, however. I mean, I look at 3rd and 4th place. They are not really in each other. Sean is still on the circuit, and now he's starting to reel in Odoms. So I think he realized the problem with the car, was able to switch a couple buttons around, and now he's back onto a charging mode to get a little redemption on Odoms. We do have 3 laps to go, however, so I'm not sure if it'll be enough time. The gap between all of them are pretty close. They're beating and banging for what it is 9th place between what looks to be Renault and the McLaren. Dog trying to hang on, but barely gets lost off and is in the back now for what it is 10th place. So really, James gets by for 2 single points against one of the one that he was in originally.
Chris has had a moment. Chris has had an issue. He's in the wall.
Whoa!
Chris is just...
Wow. Puncture, left rear puncture. Looks to be Chris, and it looks to be a little bit of karma for the Ferrari man, as he's going to have to bring it back in the pits, and hopefully he does not send it wide. I'm taking an on-board view with him. But hopefully he does it into the pits. He couldn't lose the back end right here. Takes it very easily. Does have a lot of wheel spin off that corner, though, into the pits, but a little bit of a karma for him. Odoms is finally in the podium, and now could we see a podium battle between him and Sean with 2 laps to go? The question is on if Sean has enough pace to get by him. Do you think, do you think Sean will be able to get by Odoms for the final podium spot?
I don't think so. I think they're on their penultimate lap now, and I think there's no DRS. If it's going to be done, it's going to have to be a late dive bomb. Like James did. James's move on Dog and Anis was a complete surprise move. I wasn't expecting it as a spectator. He slung it down the inside and somehow got the car slowed down. As Chris comes out in 8th place, he's had a disastrous opening race, and now this race, that's a little bit heartbreaking for him. I wonder if he thought those tyres could have made it to the end. He obviously did, but they didn't. As we look down the order, James is now just behind Chris, so they're the closest battle on track. 1.8 the gap is between Sean and Odoms, so Odoms could potentially keep on to that 3rd position.
So we are headed to the final couple stages of this Grand Prix. You did say the penultimate lap. I thought it was, but it crossed the line. For me, it says, yep, final lap now for Beast has leading the way in the Williams. So he is headed on home to what it is going to be, I wouldn't say dominant victory, but he was able to retake the lead after sort of a mistake he had. And in other weeks, I've seen him in the rain at this circuit. Not the best, but I think he's taken notes, realized what he's done wrong, and has finally come back and really showed his speed, showed why he deserves to lead this championship. So in the Williams are going to make it back-to-back victories. As looks to be Beastaz is going to try and go for 2 for 2. As in the final lap now, Beastaz does lead the way. 2nd is going to be MLA. 3rd is going to be Odoms. 4th is, looks like to be Sean. He's reeled into Odoms quite a bit. Not sure if we'll have enough time. Maybe down the straight on the back straight. Again, under braking, a lot of time gain on Odoms, but then again runs very wide. Question will be up for debate if Odoms will get the podium or Sean, because those two looks like to be battling on the back straight for the final time. Most likely, that's my prediction. But you look at Beastaz on the back straight for the final time. This man ended up winning the Australian Grand Prix last weekend, put on a dominant performance as his teammate did get pole, but did also retire in the Williams. So a little bit of a disappointment, but Williams are going to have a fantastic day. They're going to be celebrating in the garage area as we head into turn number 14. And BSAS is going to lead the way for Williams. They did a fantastic job in Australia. They'll do the same today in Shanghai. Final corner, Williams. BSAS will go 2 for 2. Back-to-back victories for BSAS as he wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Spins across the line and back in the position. Let's see if Odoms can hang on. There is a yellow flag. There's a position for taking as well. I think Odoms will be able to hang on. No, I can't spectate him because I'm spectating BSAS, but it should be across the line. Somewhere TS Odoms is. Again, the timestamp is really off. Not sure if you want to take it, but across the line, TS and Odoms do take it. TS Odoms is third. Fourth is going to be Sean. Not sure about the rest, but a fantastic finish and a fantastic performance by BSAS to end out the Chinese Grand Prix. There are a couple other drivers still trying to finish today's Chinese Grand Prix. But as we finish up the session, BSAS is celebrating, and again, in looks to be in F1 TS Hub, every driver that does have a pink helmet, we will donate 50p to breast cancer awareness. So a little bit of something to dignify there. Again, I'm spectating BSAS. I don't know what's going on with everything else, but it looks to be the top 9 finishing order should be first BSAS, second MLA, third TS Odoms, fourth Sean, fifth Gobbler, sixth Dan, seventh Chris, eighth looks to be Dog, ninth Enact, 10th Hammer Time. He's still on the circuit. 11th is going to be Compact, 12th still a battle between him and James. James is 13th and 14th is Jor. That should be the grid. We are waiting for the final couple of moments from this Grand Prix. If I was going to rate it, I'd rate it a solid 8 out of 10. A lot of battles going on, and impressed by the racing, but some contact did take off some points in the hairpin. Do you know how to rate this race today?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be up there, 8, 9, or 10. Just quickly, apologies for everyone. I had a bit of issue with my headset, so that's why I wasn't speaking. I'm not sure if you guys experienced any loss of sound, but the reason there was yellow flags at the end there, Alan, was because the Mercedes actually lost a bit more of its front wing, braking into the hairpin and the last corner. He was literally pushing Odems across the line, but couldn't do anything about it. James Slater also was up in the point scoring positions, and for some reason he crossed the line 13th. So I don't know if he had a bit of an incident, but these guys up on the podium, they don't care. BSAS, for the second week in a row, takes maximum points ahead of MLA, who also for the second week in a row takes 18 home. The Haas driver of Odems makes his first podium of the season. But what a race, Alan.
Not sure if I cut you off, but your mic just cut out on my part. But that will do it for the Chinese Grand Prix. I mean, there's one or two drivers who have penalties. One has 30 seconds of penalties. That is a little bit of a disappointment. BSAS is first, second is MLA, third is Odoms, fourth is Sean, fifth is Gobbler, sixth is Dan, seventh is Chris, 8th is Dog, 9th is Enact, 10th is Hammer Time, 11th is going to be Compact, 12th is going to be Clifford, 13th is going to be James, 14th Max Verstappen, and Esteban Ocon make an appearance in this Grand Prix. Very, very funny. 16th is going to be Jamie, 17th is D90, and 18th is Sergio Perez. So that'll be it for the Chinese Grand Prix and F1 TS Hub. Not sure if I'm going to do an outro here, but a fantastic race, and give some motivation for next week in Bahrain, I believe.
Yes, definitely. Thank you everyone for joining us. This was round 2 in the Pinnacle tier, 9 PM every Friday night. Congratulations to all the drivers who finished today's race. Bad day for Force India down at the bottom there, and disappointing day for Chris to lose the podium. But BSAS doesn't care. He leads this championship, 50 points, 2 wins out of 2. Alan, any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
BSAS is definitely going to be a threat for next week. I mean, just seeing, I mean, very fast to Bahrain. I know him last couple of weeks. He's been on the top of his game. I mean, he's 2 for 2. He has 50 points leading the field. So he enters next week with an advantage, and also the other motivational advantage, knowing he's one of the fastest there. So I think that'll be it. B-Saz, again, congrats to him on the victory today. Flawless one. And again, nice to see a lot of the drivers with pink helmets strung for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think that'll do it for the Chinese Grand Prix. A fantastic race, and it definitely has something for us to be looking forward to next week.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining myself and Alan. That'll be it for us. Alan's off to his homecoming, so wish him the best of luck. And thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week, 9 PM for the podium tier. Just prior to that, 7 PM for the podium tier and 9 PM for the guys that we've just witnessed.